What's good, YouTube? It's Luke, and today I'm going to be breaking down a SoSoCamo beat I made. I started listening to him right when he dropped Soulless, and I feel like he's super fire. And then I went to his show in New York City. So I was really inspired to make a SoSoCamo type beat, and now I'm just going to play a little snippet, and then we'll get right into the breakdown. My inspiration for this beat was the beat on Exotic. I feel like that song was my favorite on the No Service album. I really liked the guitar and the drums are super fire, so that was my inspiration. I started with a bass pattern, and that sounds like this. And that's Mr. Jazz from Xenology. I started this bass pattern pretty simple. I also put guitar rig on it, basic bass pro. Then I use Xenology again and use this mallet sound. It kind of works as like a pluck, and it's pretty soft, but it was just the only thing I could think of once I put down that bass pattern. It sounds like this. Just adds like a little bit of sparkle, just a small little detail. Once I had that, I felt like it needed another Xenology sound. I feel like Xenology is perfect for SoSoCamo's sound. And I also added my favorite effects plugin. It's called Effects Motions by Arturia, and this is what it sounds like. And the effect is pretty soft, it's just repeating it, but I feel like it gives it cool motion and keeps it a little less boring. And then is, I think, the most important part of this loop. I used this guitar from Contact, and then I also added a wah sound from Guitar Rig. It's called Double Wah, and I feel like this made the whole beat. This is what it sounds like without it. It's pretty fire, but with the wah effect, this is what it sounds like. It gives the beat so much more personality, and I feel like that kind of just tied it all together. So that's probably my favorite part in this whole beat, is that guitar with that wah. Another thing I added to the loop was an Electra X preset. It's just like an ARP kind of, and it sounds like a sine wave ARP. It's pretty simple, and I EQ'd it a lot. I don't even want it to be very audible. I just want to keep the pattern moving, and I feel like it's a soft sound in the background. And then the last thing I added was another preset from Xenology, but it was just a piano, and I feel like it gives it a pretty cool vibe. To make SoSoCamo type beats, I feel like real instruments are the best way to go. And this is the piano by itself. Super simple, but with the whole beat, I feel like it just adds that much and just kind of ties everything together once again. What I noticed with SoSoCamo's beats is each instrument has its own space. Things aren't fighting for each other, and I feel like an instrument will play its part and then have space, and then the other instrument will come in. So that's really what I tried to do here. A lot of the times I'll make beats and then I'll just stack stuff all on top of each other. But if you make one pattern and just give it one spot to play, but then let all of the rest of the pattern play out instead of filling it up, it kind of gives you more options to add more instruments in instead of just stacking so much MIDI and then trying to add another instrument. It kind of gets crowded. So once I had the loop done, I just wanted to add some like weird percussion. I always hear like marimbas or bongos or some weird instrument. I just went to Splice and just grabbed the simplest bongo pattern I could. I know it's kind of basic, but it just sounds fire. I mean, I'll play it. And with everything, it just makes me feel like I'm in the forest about to eat with like a tribe or something. Just super chill vibes. So once I had that all laid out, it was just time to add some drums, and I just wanted to keep it super simple. This is the drum pattern by itself. And once again, just leaving room for other instruments. I don't want to fill up every single drum pattern or fill up every roll. I feel like I could add snares, but to just keep it simple was my opinion on this beat. So once I finished that, it was just time to lay it out and add some effects. So in the beginning of the beat, I just added some bird sounds, like some chirping, and I feel like that's a cool vibe. When I was making the beat, I made it outside and I was hearing the birds chirp and I was like, yo, this is perfect. So I just looked for some bird sounds and added that in. It's not very loud. I don't want it to be like super audible, but I feel like if you were to listen in headphones, just like walking, you'd kind of notice it and it'd be pretty cool. And then there was a second part that I made, I guess like kind of a chorus. I used all the same instruments, but just made a different MIDI pattern. So I started with the bass again. So this is what the bass pattern sounds like on the second version. And I feel like what's fire about this bass pattern is the half step that it does. It goes duh, duh, and I feel like that duh adds a lot of tension, but kind of keeps it interesting. And then I just used the same guitar, but just made a little bit of a different pattern. It might even be the same exact chord, but just a different voicing of that chord. So this is what the bass and guitar sound like together. And it sounds like, why did that guitar just stop? But like I was leaving space for the other instruments to come in. So sometimes you just put the guitar in the beginning, let the bass go, and I feel like if I were to add more guitar, that half step note on the bass wouldn't really stand out, but since I gave it room, it kind of just lets it speak and kind of shine. So I felt like that was the main focus of the part in the beat. So I let that bass note play. Once I had the new bass pattern and guitar melody, I just kept the same marimba pattern and the same effects. I felt like it just worked. And then I also just switched up the piano a little bit, kept it in the same spot, but also just changed up the MIDI a little bit. Then I just copied over the verse, and then for the outro of the song, I just used the main loop. And thank you so much for watching. If you were inspired by this, leave a comment. And if you learned anything, let me know. If you enjoy these videos, subscribe, and I'll be making more content just like this. Peace.